Hi everybody, good evening. I'm taking chat. Yes, good evening, good evening. I hope you're doing good. Let's wait for 4 to 8. Wait for 5 more minutes. Let all of you join. So, well, in your school, did they complete this chapter? Did they finish this chapter or something? Is anything happening? Whatever chapter we are seeing, did they complete it in your school?
So they're going to finish the first chapter.
You're going to finish the first chapter. Okay. So we will take some time because we have to do stoichiometry, then titrations, some things to are left. Almost say 40% of chapter is left. Seven participants. Okay, I think we have almost 10 participants. I mean 11 participants other than me. Right. Okay, let us start. Start. Share screen. Chat. Okay. Right, so I think today is 11th, 26, 6. Fine. So guys, if you can remember, maybe before this, maybe we will just look into what and all we saw last class, and then we'll come back here. It's 19, right? Yeah. Okay. Right. So I think this was what we saw. No, I guess this is not the previous class. Page. Oh yeah, 20. Okay, so we will just see what happened. Mostly we did only problems, I understand. Right. So we did mostly problems, right? Did I teach you anything as such? Yeah, I think this is very important, guys. This mixing solution, like say if I mix this much ml of this much HCl, this much ml of this much HCl, what will be the molarity of the new solution, right? Hope you all remember what we have to do here. See, remember the volume has to be added, right? The total volume has to be added. And obviously the number of moles of HCl, whatever is present in the first solution and the second solution should be added again. That's what's mentioned here, like molarity is equal to N1 plus N2 divided by V1 plus V2 into 1000. And how will you find N1 and N2? Now, if the volume is given and the molarity is given, volume into molarity will give you the number of moles, right? Well, this is what again, see, volume into molarity, number of moles is here. Volume into molarity will give you the number of moles, right? So that's what is given here also, right? So, or you can directly take out the formula that this formula you can have, right? Molarity of mixing is M1 V1 plus M2 V2 divided by V1 plus V2. M1 V1 is going to give you number of moles 1, and M2 V2 is going to give you number of moles 2. That is M2, right? Okay. Then we went on to see what is mole fraction, guys. Right now, I told you that mole fraction is basically if I have a mixture of n components, and if I add the total moles of all the components, and if I find that is equal to 1, right? So in that total 1 mole, how much is the number of moles of one particular component, right? So it's like same as mass percentage, except that I'm going to use moles. Second difference is that it is not going to be in terms of percentage, it is going to be in terms of fraction. So it is going to be between 0 and 1, right? Okay, then I gave you the formula, right? Formula of say XA, if you have to find, it will be NA divided by NA plus NB. Now this will happen only if I have 2 components. If I have say 3 components, XA would be equal to NA divided by NA plus NB plus NC will come. Depending on the number of components, the denominator will change, right? Okay, and I told you if there are only 2 components, right, you will be able to easily find, let's say if one of the mole fractions the other mole fraction can be easily found out. 1 minus x1 will give you basically x2. This will happen again only if you have 2 components, right? Okay, and then I told you if the total number of moles is not given, right? If the total number of moles is not given, you can take the total now, assume the total number of moles is equal to 1. If you assume that the total number of moles is equal to 1, you can easily take the number of moles as the mole fraction itself, right? Again, this comes on the definition. If the total number of moles is not given, assume the total number of moles to be 1 mole, and you can directly take the mole fraction to be the number of moles itself, right? This is what we saw. And then the last thing we saw was parts per million. Parts per million is nothing but instead of having 0 to 100 in mass percentage, here I'm going to have 0 to 1 million, that is 10 to the power 6. So the formula also you can see how it's changing mass of solute or mass of solvent in 10 to the power 6 instead of 100. That's it, right? And then again we did some problems. Like hope you're all taking notes, guys, a lot taking the questions as well as taking the solutions, everything. I hope you're all doing it, right? Okay, fine. So just to have a quick recap, we will just do maybe 1 or 2 problems and then we'll move on to the next next concepts. Okay, fine. Let me give you a problem now. Okay, please take this question. Right. The question is mole fraction of H2. Mole fraction of H2 in a 2-gram mixture. Mole fraction of H2 in a 2-gram mixture of H2 and He, that is hydrogen and helium. Mole fraction of H2 in a 2-gram mixture of hydrogen, that is H2, and helium is 0.5. Is 0.5. Okay. Now the question is, find the mass of helium present. Find the mass of helium present. Okay, I'll repeat the question, people. Mole fraction of H2 in a 2-gram mixture of H2 and helium is 0.5. Now the question is, what is the mass of helium present in the mixture? Okay, I hope the question you have taken down. Right, so basically what they're telling is, totally I have a 2-gram mixture, so 2 gram of total, that is H2 plus helium. In that mole fraction of H2 is 0.5. Right, and they're asking, what is the mass of helium present? Go for it, think about it. You'll be able to get the answer easily. So don't sit idly, please. I will give you 1 more minute, people. Like it doesn't matter whether you can calculate. I think calculating will also be very easy. It's not some big numbers.
So is it 1.6?
1.6.
1.6 grams.
Basically, 1.6 would be 4 by 3, correct? No. It will be 2 by 3. No, 1.6 would be. No, I have the answer in terms of fractions. Okay, wait, let me check. Maybe 1.6. 2 by 3 is 2 by 3 is 0.66 and 4 by 3 is 1.33. Okay, fine. I don't have 1.6 as the option here. I have 0.66 and I have 1.333. Those are the options I have. Those are the options I have. Okay, anyways. So maybe now I will do. Right. Fine. So guys, they have given, let me use black. Okay. So they have given 2 grams of H2 plus helium. Sorry, H2 plus helium. This is what is given to us, right? And in this data, what are other data they have given is that mole fraction of H2 is 1, right? Sorry, 0.5. I'm sorry. Mole fraction of H2 is 0.5. Now, if at all I know the mole fraction of, there are only 2 components here. So now I can easily tell that the mole fraction of helium is also 0.5. Correct? Mole fraction of helium is also 0.5. Right? Okay. Now, if that's the case, right? Now, if I just put it in the formula, how will I put it in the formula? It will be number of moles of H2 divided by number of moles of H2 plus number of moles of helium is this much. Again, this would be number of moles of helium divided by number of moles of H2 plus number of moles of helium. This is what I have. Correct? Okay, now what I need is how much amount of helium, I mean, what is the mass of helium and what is the mass of H2 present? That's what we need, right? Okay. Now we can do one thing. What we can do is, okay, now look at this, guys. We can do it like this. Say number of moles of H2 is equal to 0.5 into number of moles of H2 plus number of moles of helium. This we can write, okay, from this equation. Or you can write number of moles of H2 plus number of moles of helium is number of moles of H2 divided by 0.5. This will just come here, like 0.5 will just come down to the denominator, either way. Okay, now instead of this particular term, right, instead of this particular term, let us use that. Let us see what happens. Okay, if that's the case, I will be getting number of moles of helium divided by 0.5 into number of moles of H2. Basically, you can understand that number of moles of H2 divided by 0.5 will come. Again, if you do this properly, this will come numerator only. Hope you'll understand this. Okay, how? Right? So this is not there. This should be basically number of moles of H2 divided by 0.5. But like if I take it to the numerator again, it will become like this. Okay, right. So now I can write number of moles. What happened? Sorry. Number of moles of helium is equal to 0.25 plus number of moles of helium. Right? Okay. Now actually we have to use this 2 grams somehow, right? We have to use this 2 grams. Let me write it like this. Okay. Guys, we'll keep this as such. Okay, we are just moving somewhere, but we'll just see what happens if I just write like this. Right. Now what you have to understand is people totally there is 2 grams. Right. So can I write it like this? Number of moles of H2 into 2 plus number of moles of helium into 4 is equal to 2. Can somebody explain what I wrote here? Anybody knows what exactly? What am I doing? What am I
Sir, you
doing?
just you substituted the mass.
Correct. Right. So basically, how will I find the mass of H2? A number of moles of H2 is basically given mass of H2, or I'll write mass of H2 divided by molar mass of H2, that is 2 grams. Correct. So what will be the mass of H2? Mass of H2 will be number of moles into 2, and that's what I've written here. Number of moles of H2 into 2. Same way, if I do for helium, it will be number of moles of helium, that is into the molecular mass will give you the given mass of helium is equal to 2. Okay, right. So now what I have now, you can use this equation. Say I'll keep it as 1, and you can use this equation. Say 2, or you can use any other equation, whatever you have here. Okay, any other equation, right? Okay, cool. So we'll try to do this. So if I combine them both, right? So I will write number of moles of H2 into 2 plus. Now helium, I can write it as number of moles of helium. You can see number of moles of helium is equal to 0.25 into the number of moles of, sorry, oh, I did something wrong. What did I do wrong? This will be number of moles of H2. Sorry guys. Number of moles of H2. Hope you all know how we got this. So we wrote this equation first, and then we got this equation, and then in the place of number of moles of H2 plus number of moles of He, which is here, I took number of moles of H2 divided by 0.5, and that's how this equation came. And this, I took it this side, multiplied this, so I got number of moles of He is equal to 0.25 plus number of moles. Oh wait, this is 0.5. I think you are not concentrating here. I'm doing a lot of mistakes. Everybody's keeping quiet. 0.5 is there, right? 0.5 into 0.5 is 0.25. Number of moles of H2 plus, right? Number of moles of H2 into 0.5 will become 0.5 into number of moles of H2. Okay. Fine. So now number of moles of helium, how will I write? It will be 0.25 plus number of moles of H2 into 0.5. Now this whole thing into 4 is equal to 2. Correct? Right? Done. That's it. Now we got. Now we'll get answer only in terms of number of moles of H2. We'll do this. Okay. So it is 2 into number of moles of H2 plus 0.25 into 4 is 1 plus 0.5 into 4 is 2 into number of moles of H2 is equal to 2. So I get 4 into number of moles of H2 is equal to 3. Basically 1 and 2 are here. No, it will become here. So it will be 3. Now I can easily take that the number of moles of H2 is 0.25. That's it, guys. I did nothing. I took this equation and I combined with the previous equation. So I got the equation only in terms of number of moles of H2. Actually, we could have done better, because they're asking what is the mass of helium. Maybe we can write in place of H2. If we substitute, I think you're going to get a better answer. But anyways, no issues, right? Okay, so I got that the number of moles of H2 is 0.25 grams. Okay, now can I find what is the given mass, right? So can I write the mass of H2 would be number of moles of H2 into 2, which is the molecular mass of H2, right? And that would be number of moles we just found out, 0.25 into 2, which is 0.5. Okay, so basically I have 0.5 moles of 0.5 grams. I'm really sorry, this is mass, right? So this is 0.5 grams of H2 is what I have, right? Now I know total mass is 2 grams, right? Say now I write mass of H2 plus mass of helium is 2 grams. Now I know that the mass of H2, which I just found out, is 0.5 grams plus the mass of helium is 2 grams. So I can directly get the mass of helium to be 1.5 grams. Not 1.6, it's 1.5 grams. Right, that's the answer.
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah,
I
please.
did it in a little simpler method, but I couldn't figure out where I went.
Okay.
So can I just explain my method?
Yeah, sure, sure. Please go on.
So first what I did was 0.5 equals number of moles of H2 divided by number of moles of H2 plus number of moles of helium.
Okay. Okay.
And then 0.5 multiplied by number of moles of helium
Hmm.
plus 0.5 multiplied by number of moles of H2 equals equals number of moles of H2.
Okay. So basically, this you took here, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then I subtracted the number of moles of H2, like 1 minus 0.5. So I got 0.5 number of moles of helium equals 0.5 number of moles of hydrogen.
Mm-hmm. I understand what you did. Okay. Okay.
So I cancel the 0.5. Therefore, number of moles of helium equals number of moles of H2. And I substituted the mass. That is 4n plus 2n equals 2. So 6n
Okay. Okay.
equals
Okay. I
2.
think what you did is the first thing, first type itself, like there should be 0.5 into number of moles of H2 plus 0.5 into number of moles of He should be there. I think you did 0.5 only for number of moles of helium, I guess. You multiplied that.
No, sir. No, sir. I took 0.5 for H2 also, sir.
Okay, fine, no issues. What you do is after the class, you just send a picture and send me. Click a picture and send me, and I'll look into it. I'll tell you where you went wrong.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Okay, right. So, guys, this might
Sir?
look very complicated. Yeah, please tell me.
sir, in this equation, sir, NH2 is equal to 0.5 into NH2
Ah,
plus
okay, this
NH2.
one. Okay.
Yes, sir. So we take the 0.5 in the denominator place, sir,
Correct. You will take it here. Take it here. Correct.
and then we substitute it in the NHE equation.
Correct. In this equation, we substitute where I have a number of
Yes.
moles of H2, number of moles of helium. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, sir. Then NHE by NH2 by 0.5 it will come, sir.
I
You
understood.
made it as plus.
Correct. Correct. Exactly. Correct. This was multiplication. Okay, that's where we went wrong. Right. So if that's the case, what will happen? Number of moles of helium would be 0.25. Sorry, 0.25 into number of moles of H2. So this entire thing is
Yes,
wrong.
sir.
Yeah. So this be 0.25 into number of moles of H2. That's it. Right. So if that's the case,
Sir, actually, I got the correct answer, sir.
you got yeah. Let me check. Right. So now I find that the number of moles of H2 is, number of moles of helium is 0.25 into number of moles of H2. Right. So number of moles of helium is 0.25 into number of moles of H2, and this should be multiplied by 4. Sorry. Is equal to total 2 grams, right? Total 2 grams. Now what will happen? Now this would be 2 into number of moles of H2. Basically, if I write it entirely, if I just strike it out. Right. So if I do that, it would be 2.5 into, no, 2.5, no, it won't be 2.5. So it'll be 0.25 into 4 will become 1. Right. So now 1 H2. Now here I have 2 H2. So they'll become 3 H2. 3 H2. Sorry, 3 into number of moles of H2, not 3 H2, guys. I'm sorry. Right. 3 into number of moles of H2 is basically 2 grams. Correct. So I can get the number of moles of H2 as 2 by 3 moles. We're talking about number of moles of H2, guys. So 2 by 3 moles is what I have. 2 by 3 moles is basically 0.66. No, that's not an issue. Now you have to calculate what is the mass, right? So if I calculate what is the mass, number of mass of H2 will be number of moles of H2 into 2. That is obvious. So now number of moles is not 0.25. It is 0.66. 0.66 into 2 will become, how much it will be? 1 point. 0.6 into 2 will become 1.32. Correct? Or even if I just keep it as 2 by 3 itself, 2 by 3 into 2 will become 4 by 3. We'll keep it like this. 4 by 3 grams of H2 is what I have. This is mass of H2. Right? Now, if I want to calculate what will be the mass of helium, that would change as this would be, say, 4 by 3 grams, and this will be 2 grams. So you can write, so it will be 2, sorry, it will be 2 minus 4 by 3, which will become 3. This will become 6 minus 4, which will again become 2 by 3 grams. So the answer is 0.66. This is the answer. 2 by 3 gram is the answer. That is there in choice also. Yeah, this is what is correct. Okay, guys, we didn't do nothing like we did. Like it's all looks like complicated, but it is not complicated. It's all multiplication, substitution. That's it. That like how do we solve an equation? Maybe I'll explain you again for all that we wouldn't little maybe understand. Right. So they gave that the total mass of the mixture is 2 grams, and then they gave that the mole fraction of H2 is 0.5. This we gave. Right. Now I just write the formula for number of like in terms of number of moles of H2 and this. Right, so we get number of moles of H2 as 0.5 into number of moles of H2 plus number of moles of helium. Now I want to substitute number of moles of H2 plus number of moles of helium in this one, in mole fraction of He equation. That would be this, and I got this. I got the connection between number of moles of H2 and number of moles of helium as this. Number of moles of H2 is equal to 0.25 into number of moles of H2. Done. And then I go for the mass equation. Now they gave the total mass is 2. Right, so molecular number of moles into molecular mass H2, number of moles into molecular mass helium, total should be 2 grams. Correct. Now that's it. Now that what we did. Now number of moles of H2 we kept as such. Then we can now in terms of number of moles of helium we substituted this one. That is 0.25 into number of moles of H2. You can see 0.25 into number of moles of H2, and there is a 4. That 4 is there. We calculate what is the number of moles of H2. And from that we calculate what is mass of H2, right? And from the mass, we know what is the total mass. I know H2's mass, obviously I can calculate what is the mass of helium. And that we calculated to be 2 by 3 grams. Okay, guys, everybody understood? Is there any problem anybody faces? If you have a simpler method of doing it, please go for it. Please go for it. Like I did, if it was pre-prepared, like if I have prepared this question, like say before itself, maybe I would have come up with a smaller method, but since I'm solving it like just like that, maybe this is a little bigger method. But again, there's nothing big and small. It's all about like small things, like basically putting this here. Normal equations, how you solve. It's all based on that. Instead of X and Y and Z, I have this number of moles and mass and stuff. That's it. That's the only difference I have. Okay, so guys, if you didn't understand any step, please don't mind me asking again. Is there anyone who wants to know anything? So the answer is 2 by 3 grams, not 1.6. It is 0.66. Okay. Any questions?
Sir,
yeah.
Sir, if we multiply that 0.66 into 2, we'll be getting 1.32 grams, sir. So
yeah.
So when we subtract the answer, we are getting a 0.68.
Correct. No, that's because we do like it's not just 0.66, right? It's 0.66666666. So that is why when I do it in terms of 2 by 3, right, it'll be a better thing. So 2 by 3 is exact number. 0.66 is not exact number, right? So that's why there is a mismatch. No problem. You can either calculate it as 2 by 3 or you can keep it as 0.66. Both the answers will be accepted. No problem. Right. Okay, one last question, people, and then we'll go for the next concept. Okay, please take down the question. If nobody has any other queries with this question, then we can move on. I hope everything is fine. Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, take this question. 26.5 grams of Na2CO3 is dissolved in enough water is dissolved in enough water to make a 250 ml solution. To make a 250 ml solution. Right, now the question is, what is the concentration? I would say, what is the molarity of Na plus and CO3 2 minus ions? Right, now I can write it like this, guys. They're simple like this. Okay, if I write something like this, right? So whenever I put some ion, or whenever I put, say, something in bracket like this, square bracket, that means I'm talking about their molarities. Okay, right? So now the question is, 26.5 grams of Na2CO3 is dissolved in enough water to make 250 ml of the solution. Right? Total volume became 250 ml. Now all I want to know is this value and this value. This value is nothing but what is the molarity of Na plus and what is the molarity of CO3 2 minus. Okay, right. Now guys, please understand, this kind of questions are very common. Okay, like if you're little panicking, I completely understand why are you panicking, because we never solve questions like this. Now look at this. Okay, say I have it's very similar to the number of moles concept, right? Say if I tell you I have 2 moles of Al2O3. Okay, right? I have 2 moles of Al2O3. This I tell you. Okay, and I ask you, right? I ask you, what is the number of moles of aluminium, right? And what is the number of moles of oxygen? What will be your answer? Well, we will come back to this question later. Okay, now answer this question. I have 2 moles of Al2O3. Okay, I want to know what is the number of moles of aluminium and what is the number of moles of oxygen present. What will be
The
your
number
answer?
of moles of aluminum is 4 and oxygen is 6.
Correct, right? So you can understand, right? In 1 mole of Al2O3, I basically have 2 moles of Al and 3 moles of oxygen. Yes, very simple. You can see here 2 moles of aluminium and 3 moles of oxygen, and that's exactly what I written here. Right? So if at all I have 2 moles, then obviously I will have 6 moles of 4 moles of aluminium and 6 moles of oxygen. As simple as that. Right? Now, same concept is what we are going to do there also. Okay. Now what, like I'll give you some other example, not this example. Say I'll take, I'll take 1m calcium chloride. Okay, CaCl2. I have a solution which is 1m calcium chloride. Now, if I ask you, what is the concentration of Ca2 plus and what is the concentration of Cl minus, Cl minus ion, the answer is going to be very similar to the previous case, right? And if I ask you this question, you must tell me that you can see that in 1m, or you can see molarity we know is basically number of moles by volume. Okay, now whatever is the concentration of the whole species, that can now you can subdivide into the concentration of the smaller species, that is the ions, right? Now just like how I say, if I have 1 mole, if I say instead of 1m, I write 1 mole CaCl2. How will I write? 1 mole CaCl2 will contain 1 mole Ca2 plus and 2 moles of Cl minus. Yes, right? There is only 1 and chlorine molecule is 2. So I say if 1 mole of CaCl2 is there, I will have 1 mole of Ca2 plus and 2 moles of Cl minus. Now exactly same thing I can tell here. The concentration of Ca2 plus would be 1m and the concentration of Cl minus would be 2m. As simple as that. Okay, because I know number of moles and molarity are directly proportional. Correct. So if I tell this, 1 mole of CaCl2 contains 1 mole of Ca2 plus and 2 moles of Cl minus, I can tell this also without any problem. No problems at all. Okay, right? So the number of constant, that is molarity of Ca2 plus is 1m, but molarity of Cl minus will be 2m because there is sequence. 2 is there for Cl. Right? Now, same way only you have to answer this question. right? So, but for this question, what you have to find is first the molarity itself, molarity of the total solution. Basically, you have to find the total molarity of Na2CO3. This you find, and from that you can find these two. That is the concentration of Na plus and the concentration of CO minus. Go for it. Now I think everybody understood. There's no need to panic. Nothing.
Sir, is it
Yeah.
26.5 grams of Na2CO3?
Yeah, 26.5 grams of NaDCO3. Correct.
Sir, is the molarity of Na plus 8?
Na plus how much? How much, Kana?
8, 8.
8. No, I don't have any options like that.
Sir, I'm getting 10 power minus 3.
10 to the power minus 3.
Yes, sir.
No, no, no. If you just calculate the molarity properly, of molarity of this entire solution, and that too, like that, the next two are very easy, right? Very simple. Right? Right. So basically, I can write molarity of Na2CO3 would be number of moles of Na2CO3 divided by volume of solution in ml into 1000. This is what we have. Did you put 1000?
Sir, is it 2?
I think, I'm not sure. Yeah, it can be 2. Yes. Right. Fine. So now I have to calculate first number of moles of Na2CO3. Right. Now, given mass is that is basically given mass by molecular mass. Right. So given mass is 26.5. 46 plus 12. How much? 106. Oh, okay, fine. 106 grams. And this is how much?
1 by 4, sir.
0.25.
1 by 4. This is 1 by 4. Okay, fine. So this is 0.25. Right? Okay, that's it. Now we will substitute it, right? So molarity of Na2CO3 would be 0.25 divided by total volume is 250 into 1000. Now 250 and 1000 become 4 times. So yeah, the concentration of whole molarity of Na2SO4 is 1 m. That's it. Okay. Now that's it. Now we'll easily tell what will be the concentration of Na plus. That will be twice of this because I have in one molecule, I have 2 Na plus ions, right? So if I have the total concentration of the solution to be 1 m, here the concentration would be 2 m, and the CO3 2 minus concentration would be 1 m. Because I have one molecule, I have only one CO3 2 minus. Okay. I think very simple question. 2 m and 1 m. Molarity of Na plus is 2 m. Molarity of CO3 2 minus is 1 m. That's the answer. A very simple question. Very, very simple question. We didn't do anything. We just went for the formula. Number of moles by volume into 1000. I calculated number of moles and I know what will be the molarity, entire molarity. And from that I calculated what is the molarity of Na plus and what is the molarity of CO3 2 minus. As simple as that. Okay, I hope nobody has any problem in how we solved it. Right? Okay, fine. Now I'll move on.
Can you explain, repeat the last step again?
Yeah, sure. So this how we calculated as 1 m is okay? How till this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now see, you have Na2CO3 as the formula, right? So now if I say 1 mole of Na2CO3, basically I'll have 2 moles of Na plus because I have 2 here, right? Same way, if I have 1 M, that means the concentration of Na plus would be 2M because it's twice, right? Same way,
Yes.
I have only one CO3 2 minus ion in 1 molecule of Na2CO3, right? So if I have 1 M of whole thing, CO3 2 minus concentration also will see 1 M because it's 1:1 ratio.
Sir, why
Here
can't
it is.
it be 3 moles of carbon monoxide?
No. The question was what
That
the
should
question
be
itself
thrice.
is what should be the concentration of CO3 2 minus itself, right? Can you come with the question again? What did you ask?
Sir, I asked why
Right.
aren't we multiplying the 3 moles?
Oh, see, this 3 is only for oxygen, right? This is not for the entire carbonate. This 3 is for oxygen alone. And we are not speaking about oxygen. We are speaking about this ion, carbonate ion. This is the entire ion here.
Sir, if the number was outside the bracket, then we had to multiply, right, sir?
Correct. If it's like, say, if the same thing I asked you, for example, like if you aluminum carbonate, for example, aluminum carbonate would have been Al2CO3 thrice. Okay, this would have been, say, this was 1M concentration. Okay, then I will tell that the concentration of Al3 plus ion is 2M and the concentration of CO3 2 minus ion would be 3M. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
How? Right, because you see in one molecule, I have 2 aluminum ions and 3 carbonate ions. Right? So if I have 1M concentration of Al2O3 totally, aluminum would be 2M because it's twice, and CO3 2 minus would be thrice because you have 3. Now this 3 is only for oxygen. Entire carbonate is what they're asking in the question.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right? Fine. Any other question you have? Any other questions anybody has? Fine. I hope everything is fine. Right, people. Now we are moving on. We are going to this. Actually, before we move on to stoichiometry, maybe we will solve this one. Okay. Fine. We'll see a new concept today. Or maybe we'll go. Fine. We'll finish this concept and go for that. Okay. So I am going to this concept of empirical formula. Okay. Empirical formula. Fine. First, what you have to understand is what do you mean by empirical formula. Now you have to know, you already know there is something called as molecular formula. Right? So there is a connection between these two guys. Okay. Molecular formula and empirical formula. Molecular formula, we know what is the actual formula of the molecule, NaCl, NaCl2, CO2, all these are the molecular formulas. Right. Now, empirical formula, I would tell that it is derived from the molecular formula, or I would say either way, a molecular formula is derived from the empirical formula, or empirical formula is derived from molecular formula, however it is, right? But I can tell empirical formula is the simplest formula you can get for that particular compound, right? For a particular compound. Okay, it is the simplest formula which can be attained for a particular compound. For example, right? I don't know whether you know there is something called as benzene. Right? There's something called as benzene.
Yes,
anybody knows the formula?
C6H6.
C6H6. This is the molecular formula, right? MF. MF is molecular formula. Now I have to make sure that I get the simplest formula. Now you see, guys, here the ratio is 6:6. And that can again be written as 1:1. Right. So if I ask you what is the empirical formula for benzene, you should write the formula as CH. And this is what is my empirical formula. So let's call it 1 second, guys. Okay, fine. Anyways,
Sir,
right? So
is it like
please tell.
is it like taking the ratio of thing and then simplifying it?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what I told you. You should find the simplest formula, right? You see the ratio here is 6:6. That is not a simplest form. What is the simplest form? Simplest form is 1:1, right? So the molecular formula is C6H6, right? But the empirical formula should be the simplest formula. That should be 1:1. That is basically CH. That will be the empirical formula for benzene. Now I'll give you one more example, right? Say I have C6, that is glucose you take, right? I know glucose's formula is C6H12O6. Correct? Now this is the molecular formula. Can someone tell me what will be the empirical formula?
CH2.
Correct, right? So you see, correct. Here it will be 6:12:6. If I write it properly, can I write it as, if I cancel it on 6 tables itself, it will be 1:2:1. Right? So I can write the formula as CH2O, as simple as that. That would be the empirical formula. Okay, that would be the empirical formula. Very simple, very simple. Okay, right. Now, guys, why are you studying about this? Is generally, right, you have an unknown compound with you. Okay, now this is what chemist generally does, right? Say now they have a solution, like they have a test tube of some chemical they have, but they don't know what and all the elements present there. You know what? They don't know the formula basically. They don't know what are the elements present. And even if they know the elements present, say I know that there is carbon, hydrogen, oxygen present, right? But I don't know what their formula is. Okay, these two are the problem. Again, I repeat. The first problem is identifying which elements are present. That is the first problem. Second problem is, even after identifying which elements are present, I will not be able to know what is the formula of the compound. So even though I know in glucose, I know it is C, H, and O present, how will I know whether it's C6H12O6 only? Why is it not C7H14 something? Why is it not that? Right? How do we find out all this? Let me tell you, let me briefly introduce you to how do we do this. Okay, guys, how do we find out which element it is a big thing. Okay, like that has so much of procedure. Like when you go to your 12th class or 11th class, oh no, you're already in 11th class. You will study it. I'm sorry, I'm still think that you're in 10th class. So basically, what happens is you will actually do something called as maybe when you go to your labs, right? You will do something called as salt analysis, right? Now, what do you do in this? Have they talked about anything to you about this, guys? Have you heard this term, salt analysis?
I've written records.
Oh, great. I've written record. Right, fine. So basically what we do here is basically they'll give you a salt. Right? When you go to the lab, right, they'll give you the salt. And you have to know you have to somehow find out what is the formula of the salt. Okay. Say for example, you have to know whether, like basically salt will have one cation and anion. That's it. The cation can be say zinc ion, magnesium ion, sodium ion, can be anything. Right, so you have to do tests for all of them. I think you would have done everything. If you look at the tabular column which you have written in your record notebooks, right? You know step by step procedure. How do we find out which is the cation, group 1 to group 6? All those stuff they would have introduced to you. And how do you find the anion? What are the different tests for that? Say for example, if it is chloride ion, what should be the test to confirm it? From the knowledge of you writing the record, what do you remember? For chloride, Cl minus, what is the test? Anybody remembers?
I don't remember.
Okay, it's called chromyl chloride test. Does this ring any bell?
Sir, we have written some 3 or 4 salts. So they are very simple salts.
Understood. Chloride is a simple solvent, but anyways, you will get to know about this. You will actually do the test also in the lab. Chromyl chloride test. That is for chloride. Anyways, so why I'm studying about all this is because that is how you find out which elements are present. Okay, that is how you find. Now that is not. This is a very simple thing what you do in your lab, but for a complicated compound, there are various other methods by which I'll be able to find. Okay, this element is present. This element is present. Like that, we'll be able to find. Okay, now, first step is done. We know which element and all is present. Say I found out that it is carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. These 3 elements are present. I found that out. Okay, now second thing would be to find, they will not directly go for the, they will not directly go for the molecular formula. first thing they'll find is the empirical formula. That is easy to find out. Let me tell you why. Okay. Now, there is something called as spectrometer. Guys, these all are not important for your school. These all are just extra information. But these all are good to know. These all are good stuffs you can know. Right. Or I can tell that specifically, it's a mass spectrometer. Okay, there is something called as a mass spectrometer. Okay, now what is like I have the unknown compound with me, right? I know that this compound contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, right? Now, if I give this compound to this mass spectrometer, right? If I give this compound to this mass spectrometer, this is going to tell me that say 40% of carbon is there, say 10% of hydrogen is there, and 50% of oxygen is there. This data it will give. What is the percentage composition of all the elements present? Right? First thing is knowing what are the elements present. After knowing what are all the elements, you give it to the mass spectrometer. Right? Now, what this mass spectrometer does, it gives you the percentage of each and every element present. Okay, right? Now, from this percentage, right, from this data, we will be able to calculate what will be the empirical formula. Okay, and from empirical formula, if I know what is the molecular mass of the total compound, I will be able to find the molecular formula. Okay, I repeat the whole thing again. So first is you know what are all the elements present, right? Now that has to be given to the mass spectrometer, right? Mass spectrometer gives you data like this. Okay, these are all elements present. I mean, it will not tell you these are all elements present, but this will tell you, okay, this much percentage of this element, this much percent of this element, and that much percent of another element is present, right? So from this data, we can calculate the empirical formula, and that we are going to do now. Okay, that we are going to do exactly now. We are going to do the problems based on that. Okay, fine. After finding the empirical formula, this mass spectrometer also will give you the molar mass. Okay, this mass spectrometer will also give you the molecular mass. It will calculate the molecular mass somehow. We don't have to go into the details of how it is going to work and all that. Right? If you're interested, please YouTube it. Right, how mass spectrometer works and all. Please YouTube it, right? So now it will give you the empirical formula as well as the molecular mass. Empirical formula, not directly, it will give you these percentage values, and from that you can calculate the empirical formula. Molecular mass is going to give you directly, right? That is going to give you the direct reading, like how a voltmeter shows volt, like that. Mass spectrometer will show the molar mass value directly. Okay, and I know the empirical formula and I know the molecular formula, and I will be able to calculate what will be the molecular formula. All these stuff can be done. Okay, now this I'll tell you how it is very easy. For example, guys, see. Okay, now right now you have, okay, like actually we'll take the example of glucose itself. Okay, say glucose is C6H12O6. No issues. Now the empirical formula would be CH2O. Okay, now please look at here. I know the molecular mass of this because I know the formula, so I know the molecular mass. Say I don't assume that I don't know what is the molecular formula. I know what is the empirical formula only. Okay, I don't know this formula. Okay, but they have given in the question that the molecular mass of this particular compound X is 180, and they have given you what is the empirical formula. Okay, and they ask you to find this formula. This formula should somehow come. How will you do it? Is first to calculate what is the molar mass of the empirical formula. Okay, now that you can calculate. So that will be 12 plus 2 plus 16. That would be how much? 14 plus 13 is 30 grams. Okay, 30 grams. Now you know this is the molecular mass of the empirical formula, and this we know is the molecular mass of the molecular formula. Okay, now look at this, guys. If I divide 180 divided by 30, what you're gonna get? 6, right? So this 6 has to be multiplied with the empirical formula. If you multiply the 6 here, what are you gonna get? C6H12O6. This is what you get. Okay, so basically, any empirical formula that into n times will give you the molecular formula, right? And how do you find this n? This n is equal to mass of the molecular formula divided by mass of the empirical formula. This you can remember, this small data, right? Empirical formula into some integer n will give you the molecular formula. That's what we did here. See, empirical formula into 6 gave me the molecular formula. Now, how do you find out the 6? Is by this, right? Mass of the molecular formula, that is 180, that is given in the question, divided by mass of the empirical formula that you calculated. Okay. Now, the entire question package would be to give this percentage values, right? From the percentage value, calculate the empirical formula. From the empirical formula, know the molecular mass. I mean, the molecular mass will be given in the question, and you find the empirical formula. This can be a whole question, and that question can be of 5 marks. One question, 5 marks they will give you. Okay. Does anybody has any doubt in all the process we have seen? Everybody understood what, like, say, what exactly are we going to do here? Any questions you have, guys? This alone you remember, these two, that is this part and this part. Now, n, remember, is not number of moles, people. N is some integer. Okay. Right. Cool. So I think now we can get on with the problem. Like, if we can get on with the model problem, I think it will be very helpful. Just give me a moment. Chat. No issues. 1 second, I'll be back. Just a moment, people. I'm just looking for a correct question, which I'll give you right now. Okay, we'll start with a small question, then we'll wind up, like, maybe then we will. Okay. Like, just for you to, like, just for you to have a grasp, we'll not do a direct problem on empirical formula, but we'll do this problem. Okay, please take note of the question. A compound of formula X2Y3, right? X2Y3. Okay, a compound of formula X2Y3 consists of 60% of X by weight. 60% of X by weight. Okay. Now the question is, what is the atomic mass of X and Y? Right? I want to know what is the atomic mass of X and Y. Okay. Right. Guys, think about this question. It has nothing to do with empirical formula. It has just to do with the molecular formula, and something else data is given. 60% of total weight of X2Y3 is basically going to be X. That's what they're given. And they want to know what is the atomic mass of X and atomic mass of Y. Think about it. Come up with this thing. I'll also help you. Oh. The question, I'm sorry, guys. You don't have to find the values of X. I mean, you don't have to find the value of molar mass of X and molar mass and atomic mass of X and atomic mass of Y. Say you do like this. I have atomic mass of X is equal to some value X into the atomic mass of Y. Like, tell me what is this X in terms of fraction. You don't have to tell me the exact decimal value. You can even tell in terms of fraction, say 2/3 or something like that. Okay, hope you understood the question. You cannot find the absolute atomic mass of X and atomic mass of Y. You will not be able to calculate. Okay, what you can calculate is this one. Like, I have some relationship between molecular mass of X and molecular mass of Y. What is the relationship? Find out this X. What is this X?
So is it 9/4?
I think it's correct. Okay, right. So I think, let me help you with this. Right now, guys, you have X2, Y3. Yeah, so you have X2, Y3. So if I ask you what is X is to Y ratio, you can easily tell that it is going to be 2:3. This we can tell, right? Because you can put the formula X2, Y3, right? Okay. Now they have told, right, say, if you want to calculate what is the molecular mass of X, if you want to calculate what is the molecular mass of X2, Y3, right, if you want to calculate it, right, if you want to calculate that, it would be 2 into molecular mass of X plus 3 into molecular mass of Y, correct? Isn't it? Like, that's how you calculate, right? Say, for example, if it is Na2 something, Na2O, how do you calculate? 2 into molecular mass of Na plus molecular mass of oxygen. Correct? The same thing only we are doing here, right? Molecular mass of X2, Y3 would be 2 into molecular mass of atomic mass of X plus 3 into atomic mass of Y. Okay, now, right, see, now this total thing is the, I'll write it like this. This is the total mass of X, right? 2 into molecular mass of X is the total mass of X present in this sample, in this formula. Or it's like this. If I write Na2O formula, I can write it as 46 plus 16 would be 62 grams. This is the total weight, right? In that, 2 into molecular weight of sodium, which is 46 gram, is what is the mass of sodium, total mass of sodium present. Hope you're able to understand what I'm trying to say here, right? Total, molecular mass of Na2O 62 grams, right? In that, I ask you what is the total mass of sodium present. What will you say? it is going to be 2 into 23 grams, that is 46 grams. And what is total mass of oxygen present? Total mass of oxygen present is 16 grams. That's what I'm telling, right? So 2 into molecular mass, 2 into atomic mass of X will be the total mass, and that's what I'm saying here. 2 into molecular atomic mass of X will be the total mass of X, and 3 into atomic mass of Y is basically the total mass of Y. No issues. Okay, right. Now what they're asking, or I can write it like this. I can write total molecular mass of X2Y3 is equal to total mass of X plus total mass of Y. Right? No issues till now. Right? Okay. Now look at this. Now the second data we can use now. The data is 60% of total weight. Right? Totally I have 100, for example, and that 60% is the weight of X. Right? So can I say like this? Can I write molecular mass, or I'll write like this, 0.6 into, or I'll write 60% of molecular mass of X2Y3, this is X2Y3, is the total mass of X. Can I write it like this, guys? This is exactly what is given in the question, right? 60% of the weight, total weight of this molecule is by X, right? So I can write 60% of total mass of, that is molecular mass of X2Y3 is the total mass of X. Correct? Now I can write this total mass as what? Total mass as 2 into the atomic mass of X. Right? Same way, if X is 60%, rest 40% would be Y. Right? So I can write 40% of total mass of X2Y3 would be the total mass of Y. And again, total mass of Y, I can write it as 3 into atomic mass of Y. Okay, 3 into atomic mass of Y. And that's it, guys. We actually got the relationship between Mx and My if you just solve this. Okay, so if you try to solve it properly, right, I can write it like this. Say, so 60% means what? 60 by 100, correct? So 0.6 into the molecular mass of X2Y3 is equal to 2 into molecular mass of X. Same way, 0.4 into molecular mass of X2Y3 would be 3 into atomic mass of Y. This is exactly what we did here. Okay, so now I can write atomic mass of X is equal to, right, atomic mass, or I can write, fine, from the first equation, right, from the first equation, we write, fine, we write it like this, right, we write molecular mass of X2Y3 is equal to 2 divided by 0.6, right, again 0.6, how can I write? 0.6 would be 2/3, fine, we'll keep it like this, no issues. So 2 divided by 0.6 into the molecular mass of X, correct? This is from, say, this is equation 1, this is equation 2. This is coming from 1. Okay, molecular mass of X2Y3 is equal to 2 divided by 0.6 into molecular mass of X. Right, I think I have to plug in the... One second. Charging. Just a moment. Okay, fine. I'll complete this question. Then I'm good. Fine. So what you have to understand, this equation looks okay, right? This equation we got from this equation, right? Now I'll substitute molecular mass of X2Y3 I have here also. I'll substitute it in terms of this. Okay. So from equation 2, I can write 0.4 into molecular mass of X2Y3 is what I have, but I'll write it in terms of X, right? So that would be 2 divided by 0.6 into molecular mass of X is equal to 3 into molecular mass of Y, right? So that's it. Now I did nothing. I just substituted molecular mass of X2Y3 as this in this equation. Nothing else I did. Okay. Now you can easily calculate, guys, right? You can easily calculate, say, if you just keep Mx on one side, right? Now it will be 3 into 0.6 divided by 2 into 0.4 into M1. That's it. This is what is the number. And I think it is 4/9. What you said is correct. Now, if you do this properly, right, this entire thing will be 4/9.
So 9/4, sir.
Oh, sorry, 9/4. Correct. This is 9/4. Fine, that's correct. Okay, guys, I did nothing. I did see from just this one data. What is the data? For once you know is formula. Second thing you understand is I have 60% of weight, total weight is X. That's it. Okay. Now what we did, we just wrote the molecular mass, which is going for molecular mass. Molecular mass of X2Y3 would be 2 into atomic mass of X plus 3 into atomic mass of Y. That is very simple from the equation. How you can generally calculate the molecular formula. Sorry, molecular mass, right? Okay. Now this 2 into mx, that is more atomic mass of X, is total mass. Again, this would be total mass of Y. So that's the same thing only is written here. Total molecular mass would be total mass of X plus total mass of Y. Right. Now, in the question is given that 60% of total weight of the molecule is X. So I wrote 60% of molecular mass of X is the total mass of X. And that total mass of X nothing but 2 into atomic mass of X. Same way, rest 40% will be Y. Right. So I can write it as Ty. And that is again 3 into atomic mass of Y. And that's it. Next is solving the equations. That's it. Right. So we wrote in 60% means 0.6. Right, into a molecular mass of X2Y3 is 2 into mx. 0.4, that is 40% of m to X2Y3 would be that is total mass of Y, that is 3 into my. And then I calculated, like I took mass of X2Y3 in terms of this, I wrote like this. And then I substituted this X2Y3 mass in terms of X here in this equation. And that's what we did here. And then we directly get a relationship between atomic mass of X and atomic mass of Y, which is equal to atomic mass of X is equal to 9/4 into atomic mass of Y. As simple as that. Okay, guys, any problem, anything, any issues you find here? Is everybody okay? I hope everybody is okay. Right? If not, please, again and again, I'm telling guys, if you do not ask, I will not know that you don't know. Okay? Is there any doubt? Is there any problem here? Fine. I hope there is no problem. Right? Fine. These kind of questions can also be asked, guys. This kind of question, a very good question. Correct. With very small data, with just the formula and the percentage, you could actually find so many things. So many things.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, in these types of questions, we can assume the total weight to be 100 grams, and it will be much easier to.
Correct. Correct. But the thing is, you will not be able. Yeah. Then also you'll be actually able to write in terms of molecular formula. The simplest thing would be correct. So you can write. Actually, it's a very good method. We'll just try that. Okay, I'll tell you how it works. Right. Say assume that the given mass. This is not. I'm not talking about molecular mass. I'll write given mass of X2Y3. I can take it as 100 grams. Assume it to be 100 grams. So in that, the mass of X, say, given mass of X would be 60 grams. Correct? Right? Then you have to write it in terms of like this, say, okay, so now I can write the number of moles of X would be 60 divided by the molecular mass of X. Right? So now you can do this. Again, you can calculate X2Y3. Again, you can put equate it to 100 grams. Again, same thing will happen. Again, same thing will happen.
Sir, no, sir. N of X is actually 2.
N of X is 2. Okay, okay. You can directly take it. But
yes,
if you are taking it as 100 grams, you cannot take the number of moles as 2 directly. That's what I'm telling you. Because 100 is not the molecular mass. Are you able to understand me? What I'm saying? What I'm telling is, if you take the number of moles of X as 2, right, the mass you have to take here should be the molecular mass of X2Y3, not 100 grams. That's what I'm telling you. Because only in the total molecular mass of X2Y3, I have 2 moles of X. That's what you have to understand. Are you able to get my point?
no, sir.
Okay. So, like say you are telling that you can take the number of moles of X as 2. That's what you're telling. Right. Now,
yes,
this will happen only if you consider the total. If I consider, say, 1 mole of X2Y3 will contain 2 moles of X. Absolutely. What will be the 1 mole of X2Y3's weight? That will be the molecular mass. Yes. Right. So only
yes,
if you consider the molecular mass of X2Y3, then you can take the number of moles of X as 2 directly.
Yes, sir. That
right.
is what 100, right?
That how it will be 100? It is
It's just
you are
an
assuming-
assumption.
It's assumption, correct? We are
It's
assuming
the given
that
mass.
the given mass is 100. Molecular mass we don't know.
Molecular mass is different.
Correct. Molecular mass is different. This 100 you can assume that this, but this is not molecular mass. This is given mass. Yes? Do I make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Maybe you try it out, right? You try it out. Maybe you tried out in that method. Also tell me whether you're getting the same answer.
Yes, sir. I got it, sir. Only 6 steps.
Okay, you only got 9/4.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me also check, but I don't think
Sir,
you can assume it like this.
Actually, I
assume
got
that-
9/4.
But did you assume this is the molecular mass? 100 is molecular
No, sir,
mass?
no, sir. I just found out the ratio and
Okay. Let me also check, Kana. Like if I can assume this as molecular, but I don't think so. You can assume it only the given mass. That's all you can do. Okay. Say if you want, you can do like this, right? Say total is 100, but actually we're spending so much time today on very small things, but still not an issue, right? So total mass, you can take it as 100. Total, or I can write given mass. I can write given mass of x2, y3 as 100. Now, how will you connect this 100 with the this one is like this, right? Say I don't know what is the number of moles of x and y present, right? Now, how can I write? This would be number of moles of x into the molecular mass of x plus number of moles of y plus the molecular mass of y is 100. This we know. Okay, and this number of moles of x and number of moles of y, this I know is 60 grams. And this would be, but again, it will go to the same stuff. Can I just send me the click? Like you send me the picture of how you solved it with the help of this whatever assumption you did. I'll also look into it.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right. What is the time? Maybe you have 10 more minutes. Okay, fine. Right. One last question, people, and then we'll wind up. Right. So we'll concentrate on what we are speaking about, the empirical formula and molecular formula. Okay. Now I will solve this question. You don't have to solve. So maybe tomorrow's class I'll give you another question like this that we will solve. Okay, right. So take on the question next. Oh, actually, you can assume to be 100 grams. That is the molecular mass of x2, y3 can be assumed as 100 grams. Actually, what it is correct. Okay. Now, why? Because we don't know. Like, see, in this question also, we are not finding the exact numbers. We don't know what is the atomic mass of x. We don't know what is the atomic mass of y. Right. So, like again, so if that's the case, you can actually take the total mass, that is the molecular mass of x2, y3 as 100 grams. So then, yeah, this can be made as 2. Yeah, that will work. What it is absolutely correct. Right. But if at all the molecular mass was given, right, then you wouldn't have done this because obviously that value would have taken. Actually, a good effort, right? You can actually assume this to be the molecular mass itself because nothing is given in the question, right? Nothing is given in the question, and you are not anyways finding the absolute value of mx and x, my. You are just finding the relationship between these two. So you can assume it to be the molecular mass. So the saying that the 60 grams, right? 60 grams is the total mass of x. So this I can write tx as 60 grams directly, right? So then I will get the molecular mass itself, right? The molecular mass of x itself as 30 grams, right? So same way I can write total mass of y to be 40 grams, right? So that will be equal to 3 into my. So that would be molecular mass, atomic mass of y would be 40 divided by 3. So now if you try to get a relation between 30 and 40 by 3, again you will get it as 4 by 9, sorry, 9 by 4. That you will get. But I would say it's a tricky way to work out. This is the correct way. But it's not like it's wrong what you did, right? But sometimes it can become tricky. Right? But again, good effort. That will work. Definitely it will work. Right? Yeah. Fine. So now the question, right? Yeah, an organic compound has the percentage composition. An organic compound has the percentage composition like this. Like this means, okay, carbon is 26.09% and hydrogen was 4.35% and oxygen was 69.5%. Okay, so this is the percentage composition. Basically, you know that carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen are present, and these are their percentage values.
So what is the percentage value of oxygen?
Oxygen is 69.5.
Okay.
Right? So carbon is 26.09, hydrogen is 4.35, and oxygen is 69.5. Okay, right. Now, guys, this kind of questions only will be asked. They will just give you, and okay, the question is find the empirical formula. Okay, find the empirical formula of the compound. Okay, right. So now, guys, it's very simple here, right? So now any kind of question can be asked, depending on whatever the percentage, whatever the element, right? Or the procedure is exactly same. There is no change in procedure. Okay. Now what you're going to do is you are going to make a table, right? You are going to make, right? Right. Say I'll write carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, right? Say in this case we have, say, the mass values, number of moles values. Okay, this one we take. Okay, mass, whatever the given mass, and number of moles. Okay, fine. So guys, they have given you the percentage values. Correct. Now, if I assume the total mass to be 100, right? If I assume total mass to be 100, now I can take directly this as the mass itself. Right? I can directly take this as the mass itself. So first step is to write the table like this. Whatever the elements present, their mass and their number of moles. This is the table first you make. Okay. Now what do I have to fill in the table? So this is going to be 26.09 grams, and this is going to be 4.35 grams, and this is going to be 69.5 grams. Okay, this you fill first. Right, from the percentage values, you can easily fill the mass. Okay, and these are the given masses. Now you can calculate the number of moles. Now number of moles would be 26.09 divided by 12, 4.35 divided by 1, because for hydrogen it is 1, for carbon it is 12 atomic mass, and here it would be 69.5 divided by 16. No issues, right? Okay, fine. The next thing, you just calculate again. You take down the numbers first, right? So if you take down the number, people, right? Maybe if I can use the, someone can use. Okay, wait, I'll only use the calculator. Where is my, yeah? So what I have to calculate is 26.09 divided by 12. So that is approximately, I'm getting it as 2.24. Okay. Now next thing, this will again
for
be
oxygen. For oxygen, it's 4.34.
4.34.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Sir, for carbon, isn't it 2.17?
Oh, 26.09. Okay, correct. This is 2.17. Right. Absolutely. Okay. This is 4.35 and 4.34. Okay, fine. Now what you do is, guys, now you will get some numbers here. Okay. Now after you get these numbers, what will you do is that you will choose the smallest number, right? Among these three, right? Among these three, you will choose the smallest number. Okay. And obviously in this case, the smallest number is 2.17. Okay. So the next step is, after you find the number of moles, you divide the number of moles by the smallest value. Now, in the sense that this will be divided by 2.17, this will be divided by 2.17, this will be divided by 2.17. Okay, so what will be the ratio now? This will be 1, this will approximately be 2, again this will approximately be 2. No issues. That's it, guys. This is the ratio. What you got here is the ratio of the elements present. That means carbon is to hydrogen is to oxygen, right? I'll write it here. Right, carbon is to hydrogen is to oxygen is basically 1 is to 2 is to 2. And if that's the case, I can directly write the formula as what?
CH2.
That's it. That's the formula. That's the empirical formula. And if you know what is the molecular mass, you can even find the molecular formula. Right? So I'll just repeat what I did, guys. Very, very simple, this kind of questions. So they will just give you these percentages. Okay. Now from the percentage, you directly take the percentage as mass. Right? You make the table first. In the table, you write what are the elements present and two things, mass and number of moles. Okay. Now you take down the mass from the mass percentage. Then you calculate for each element what is the number of moles that you did, right? Now, after you get the number of moles value, among the three number of moles, choose the smallest one, and the smallest one is 2.17. And divide each of these number of moles by the smallest value, that is 2.17 divided by this, 2.17, 4.35 divided by 2.17, again 4.34 divided by 2.17, and you will get some number. Right now, see guys, you don't have to approximately get one like 2, right? So you will be 2.035 something. This will be 2.056 something. It will be, but approximated to the nearest integer. The nearest integer is 2. Here also nearest integer is 2, right? And that's it. Now you got the ratio of all the elements present: C, H, and O. That is 1 is to 2 is to 2. If that's the case, you can directly get the formula as CH2O. Okay. Right?
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir, if we approximate it like if the decimal place if in the decimal place if it comes as 2.8 something means
Then we have
that's-
to go for the next thing. You have to put it as 3.
Okay.
If it comes at 2.8, then you put it as 3. If it is
Okay.
less than 2.5, then 2. More than 2.5, 3. Like that. But you will not get numbers like that because that big or not. Maybe you will be getting like 2.967, something like that you will get. Then you can easily get a 3. That much difference only will be there. Not much difference. Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions you have? Okay. Fine. So I think that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll continue with this empirical formula. We'll do maybe 1 or 2 more problems on this, right? And then we will actually go for stoichiometry. Okay. Fine, guys. Thank you so much. It was a nice class.
Thank you, sir.
I hope everybody understood everything.
Thank you, sir.
So much.
Thanks.
Thank you.